Good afternoon and welcome to Robin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. We'll be starting the show with some good news. I know that throughout Nigeria, there's been that sigh of relief when that announcement came from the Kaduna State government. I'm talking about the safe return and release of 287 school children that were kidnapped. They released a statement saying that they were not harmed and they have been released. And as a parent, we all know how important it is that our children are safe, but still able to receive a quality education. Now, the week has been full of different headlines, and we're going to be tackling some of them right here on the show. I'm not alone, and it gives me great joy to introduce a journalist to this conversation in the person of Funke Treasure Anike Ade. Welcome to Robin Minds.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
We're happy you took up our invitation. Now, how did you feel when you heard that news? First of all, when these school children were kidnapped, because it seems like every other month we're hearing of kidnappings and school children taken in mass, and it takes days, sometimes weeks before they are released. We have the Chibok girls who have not fully returned. We've only had some of them return. So in light of this news, what were your emotions?
Of course, like every other person, it was a sigh of relief that, oh, thank God, this is not another Chibok, because till today, as you've noted, we're still waiting for the Chibok girls to be fully returned home, because some of them are still stuck in there. So for all of these young ones to have been released, like, it was a sigh of relief. But then again, I thought this seems like a warning to all of us, not just the government, to all of us, that look, you're found napping. Security that you're talking about so very much, you're still not doing enough. Because if these people could gain access to all of these young people and take them en masse, as you've noted as well, it means we're just paying lip service to security, tightening security, spending money on security and this and that. Why is that still happening in the northern part of Nigeria? Because it's not just Kaduna. So I think we heard of another one, I think in Sokoto as well. So it puts a question mark on what we've done so far in the past few years that we've been grappling with the challenge that kidnapping is, that terrorism is. So you want to ask yourself, so what are the gains? Can we put a finger on the gains? Especially when you hear a Gumi telling us that government should now start negotiating with terrorists and saying, well, the past government did not want to, negotiate with them. And then you begin to ask, what exactly is the function of this Gumi persona in the entire
security architecture?
Yes. Why is he so authoritative? Why does he have such access to these kidnappers? Why is he not in custody yet? Answering questions about what he knows about them. How come he's the one always having the knowledge of where they are anytime any of them strikes in any state? Gumi has the answer. So we want to know, what else does he know? I mean, government has done what we've been asking them to do for quite a long time now. They have named names, right? So what next? What is this, all of them? And what has Gumi got to say? What else does he know beyond knowing where the hideouts are and knowing who these people are and having the courage and the bravery to always put himself forward to go and talk to them? Why is he not afraid? These are questions.
Now, you mentioned that this is a warning, and I wanted to take you back to that. Do you see this as something that is likely to occur again, considering the length of time they spent in captivity? And when you mention Gumi, that's almost acting as a negotiator, right, to ensure they are released, should the government be taking a stance against negotiation? Because as long as there's room for negotiation, does that send a message to the kidnappers, to the bandits, to the terrorists that they will always have some kind of room? They will always have a position to take. They'll always have access, and they will always be part of the conversation.
Right. So I am not a security expert, but what I've read so far and how governments in developed nations have, attempted to sort or solve this kind of problem is that you don't negotiate with terrorists. Having said that, there is always the local example, or for want of a better, or let me look for another word to it, there's always a peculiarity to every nation. Right. So having said that, I believe that there is always a way to skirt around this and find a way. It's not giving amnesty to them, as we criticized in the time past, but that we find a way to ensure that this does not happen again. That's what governments do. And I know that in the past, they've also convened meetings, strategic meetings with security experts in the past. Whatever they say for security reasons, we ought not to know, but we need to know where we're at the moment. After all the talk shops and the workshops and the strategic meetings, where are we regarding the security architecture and the defense of the Nigerian government, how they intend to keep us safe? I
think that's very important. That point you brought up on transparency and communication, because I can just imagine some of the fears these parents might have to send their children back to school, not knowing whether it's going to be safe, considering that this has happened several times in different states. Now,
I'm particularly happy that this has happened within the Women History Month. So there's something to cheer, no matter how despondent this banditry and kidnapping is. At least they returned all of those children to us. That is,
although they haven't disclosed whether there was any negotiation, whether ransom was.
They will disclose that for security reasons as well. Yes.
Now, I want us to move. It's still affecting, I would say, students, because we've looked at the school children. Now, there were reports that at Nasarawa State University, there was some kind of aid being distributed due to these really tough times and in the rush for it. And this is something we've even seen in Lagos State. We had 2 students die as a result of the stampede. That's what is being reported. Now, one would imagine that since this is not the first time it has happened during these times, recent times, that is there a better way to make relief materials available? Should we be looking at maybe digitization of some things, handing out of vouchers, instead of encouraging people en masse to take, I would say, the relief items, whether it's bags of rice or beans or gari?
Well, I think it's not a good thing that we never learn from the mistakes of the past, given that this has happened, not just the Lagos one, but sometime in the past of this country, there was this immigration stampede at an immigration event, registration or recruitment of young people. And one would think that we would have learned. I say we because this is about all of us. So this is happening in Nasarawa again because of palliatives. Let us just say it as it is, because of rice, is shameful as a country with all the sophistication and, we seem to brandish in recent times regarding you having an NIN, you having a BVN, you having all the NNNNN. I joke now. But you see, it is, by now we should have elevated our strategies beyond asking people to come into one place and then there is panic and there is stampede and people are dying. What happens to the ward level? Why we have governance at the local government level, at the ward level? That's the closest to the people. Why aren't we saying at this ward A, ward B in this local government, you take this, for the schools, there are faculties, there are departments within faculties. If you really wanted to be sophisticated, I'm using sophisticated, but I'm looking for another word for it. If we really, really want to be civilized, that's the word, civilized, we should do it differently. Why should we keep losing people because we want to give them food in the 21st century, especially at the university? I have said, like the world level, there is the entire university, there are faculties, and there are departments. Why are we not doing that?
And there are faculty heads and department heads. Why are we not
reaching the students through these channels? Why tell them to come assemble somewhere and then they're scrambling like barbarians, and then they're getting run over? They're
putting their lives at risk.
It's not right. We're not treating people like human beings that they are.
I think the point you made is very important, not just at the school level, but in society, when government is looking to make palliatives available, to really utilize the local government, go granular. It doesn't have to be en masse.
Grassroots, yes. And grassroots doesn't mean in the village.
Yes.
Take, for example, in Lagos, there are wards in Lagos, and they're not in the rural areas.
Yes.
Essentially. So because that's the smallest unit, we should start from there.
Now, I want to move the conversation to politics. I think every time the conversation comes up is on our leaders. There's always been a point made that the cost of governance should be reduced, especially in light of the harsh economic realities. And then I remember coming across a report by The Nation about the Abia State House of Assembly, and there's a bill that's been sponsored which is going to stop the payment of salaries and pensions to former governors and deputies. Now, we all know that part of the perks of government starts in government and remains after government. We've heard of allocation of choice property, monies coming in. What do you make of this? Is this the right move? Is this something that other states should also be sponsoring in their state house of assemblies? Is this what we should expect at federal level?
You could see me smiling. Don't we just love what's coming out of Abia in recent times? First is the fact that there is electricity 24 hours in Abia State. And that's like, let's do this more. Let more states do this. And then it comes up, Governor Oti comes up again with this fabulous one. When we're talking of cutting back on the cost of governance, I mean, he's doing just all the right things, tapping all the right buttons, and it's not just the people of Abia State hailing and rejoicing. All of us, all well-meaning people of goodwill, are rejoicing at what's coming out of Abia in recent times. I think it's a step in the right direction. Nobody is saying that those who've worked for the people, who've served the people, the nation, should not have their pensions, but it should not be a ripoff of the people. It should not be at the cost of governance, of making lives bearable for the people. It shouldn't be like they take all the icing and we take, after the icing and then the cake, and then we take the bottom of the cake. You know what I mean?
The crumbs.
Crumbs. So it's a step in the right direction. I wish the other governors in the 36 states would toe the line of Governor Oti, because this is really, really what we've been canvassing for. This is what we're saying at the federal level they should do. The House of Reps members, the Senate, both the upper and lower chamber, they should look at how they can identify with the people and reduce these humongous allowances they're receiving, and identify the people they should identify with, because the welfare of the people matters a lot, especially these difficult times. You can't even get a bottle of soda. It's selling at such a ridiculous 400 naira. You're wondering, those of us with children, who crave sugar, how do we balance it out? Your take-home pay is, probably, the minimum wage is how much now? 30,000 naira, at the federal level. But the bag of rice is almost 100,000.
Yes, the inflation has been
all of your salary is still not buying a bag of rice. That's the truth. Should it not? Because those at the highest level of governance don't go to the market. Their wives don't go to the market. They have people who go and purchase for them, and so I don't think they're seeing the reality of.
They're not in touch with what is happening.
A piece of egg is now 100 naira. A piece of it.
Oh, it's more than that. 150 naira in some places.
There you go.
And then, the cost of noodles that used to be very affordable is north of 500 naira. Food is so expensive now.
Expensive. So what do? They're asking us to sacrifice, to do something for the nation. Ask not what your nation can do for you. You do something for the nation. We're all doing something now. We expect them to also do something. And I am waiting for them to make an announcement that, the legislature is identifying with Nigerians at this difficult time. This is what we are doing practically from ours. That will be so heartwarming. We're waiting.
Yes, and a lot of Nigerians are waiting to also see the naira to dollar issue be resolved. There was a time was pushing almost to 2,000 naira, and there's been a lot of work in recent times clearing of backlog of payments. The CBN is really trying to stabilize things. In your own opinion, do you think this is enough? Can more things be done? And what should we be doing in the interim to manage these realities?
Well, again, I'm not an economic expert, but the basic demand and supply knowledge that I have says what people ask for increases in value. When there's a high demand for something, it increases in value. And the way we can do that as Nigerians is to buy Nigeria. I know that Reno Omokri has been at the forefront in recent times online, asking Nigerians to buy Nigeria, because when we do that, the naira will appreciate in value, and we would have been seen to do our part. We cannot continue to buy everything in dollars, and we want to send our children to school in Nigeria. They're paying in dollars, and we expect the naira to do well. We have to do our part. I will say thank you to the CBN. You don't always criticize. You also appreciate the bits they're doing. They're working hard, I know, but they can do better. On our part as Nigerians, let us buy Nigeria. Let us elevate Nigeria. Look at what you're wearing. Look at what I'm wearing. Can we do more of Nigeria? Can we do more Ankara? Can we tame our tastes? Can we do something about our taste so that we begin to appreciate more than ever before? I mean, our movies are doing well, our music are doing well. Let us embrace agriculture better. The government can do more, provide machineries for mechanical farming, make fertilizers easier to come by. Look at when you're traveling in South Africa, right? You see farms as you travel. Come to Nigeria, you see forests as you travel. And then you begin to wonder, what are we doing with all these farmlands, just wasting away? The government should make this priority. I know that the AFDB has given Nigeria some money for, to help with this season of hunger. Let us do more of agriculture. There are women in agriculture, there are men in agriculture. Let us empower them more, and let us encourage the youth to come into agriculture. They can't all just be in music and movies and tech.
Those are very salient points you've made. And I think the one that we'll close off with is the fact that we need to buy Nigerian-made, Nigerian brands. We need to patronize that. And not just us, but to the government. So when they are purchasing their cars, their furniture, let them look inwards. Thank you so much.
When they're having workshops, they don't take it to London. They do it here.
They do it here. I think that's a great place to bring this conversation to an end. Thank you very much, Funke Treasure Anike Ade, for being our guest today on Rubbing Minds.
Thank you so much. Thank you.